Again, it's very, very difficult for me not to read that to you and not to turn to the pages of the book and point out the examples to you. The teacher in me wants to say, okay, let's look at this example 2 on page 107. We don't have time for it. That's why we're getting behind. So I have to trust that you understand when I say example 2 on page 107 is an important example and will help you if you don't know how to do that in the homework. I have to trust that you'll actually open your book and look at page 107. I don't know if that's earned trust or not, because in the notes I had for inequalities warning, don't just set each factor greater than 0. That's the most common mistake, and yet you still made it. I just have faith that you will become, that you will rise to the occasion. You really need to, maybe more than you had to in college algebra or some other algebra class, you need to look in your notes and in the book instead of just sitting down with the homework, trying it, flipping over, checking the answer in the back of the book. If it's wrong, change your answer on your paper. That method's not working. So the method that will work is referring to the notes, referring to the book, getting examples like it. All right, so you know how to graph lines. As hard as it is for me, I'm not going to point at any of those examples. You should know how to find the equation of the line. If I give you a point and a slope, you plug it into point slope form and you solve for y. If I give you 2 points, you find the slope, and then you take one of your points and the slope and plug it into point slope form and solve for y. The thing you should know about parallel lines is what makes them parallel. They have the same slope. They never cross because they're going up and over at the same rate every step of the way. Perpendicular lines have slopes which are opposites and reciprocals. So if one line has a slope of -3/2, what's the slope of a line perpendicular to it? Positive 2/3. If one line has a slope of 4, what's the slope of a line perpendicular to it? -1/4. All right. I would love to have time to do one of each of those problems for you. We don't have time, and they're very well typed with words telling what's going on in each step on page 11, 111, 112. In the homework, there's another problem that says find the equation of the perpendicular bisector. I would love to do that example, but there's already a perfect one on page 113. So when you see those words, find the perpendicular bisector, you look at your notes and you go, well, that's where it is in my notes and that's where it is in the book. And look at it instead of just saying, I don't know how to do that. The examples that I chose were the examples that were a little bit different than anything we did in college algebra. That shows up better if I turn off one light switch. And we're going to go through these as quickly as possible and try to get most of 2.4 done today. If we get most of 2.4 done today, we're back on track, and that's the goal. So examples I know you've done before, I just told you where they are in the book. These are the examples that are a little bit different. Sketch the graph of the line through -2, 4 for each value of the slope. The slope is 1, the slope is -2, the slope is -1/2. I'm going to sketch 3 different lines. All 3 of them are going to go through the point -2, 4. How do I find a line that goes through that point and has the slope 1? How do I use the fact that the slope is 1? What does that mean? The definition of slope is rise over run. You have a formula for slope, but really if you understand that definition, then you don't need the formula. You get the rise by counting the difference in the y's. and you get the run by counting the difference in the x's. So if I want to line with a slope of 1, then I need to write that 1 as a fraction. Of course, I can write any whole number as a fraction just by putting it over 1. And that means the rise is 1 and the run is 1. So I start at that point, -2, 4, and from that point, I rise 1 and I run 1. In what direction should I run, left or right?
Right.
Right is positive. So rise 1, run 1 would put me right there. And that's a line through the given point with the slope 1. Now I want to start at -2, 4 again and graph a line with the slope -2. How do you write -2 as a fraction? Is that -2 over +1? Is it -2 over -1? -2 is -2 over +1. And so I'm going to start at that point, -2, 4. How do I rise a negative amount? You don't? You just sit still?
Well, you go down.
You go down. You rise a negative amount, you go down. And in what direction will I run for the 1? The run is 1, so will I go left or right? It's a -2 over a +1. So I'm going to start here and go down 2 in the direction of a +1 right there. And that's my line with a slope of -2. And I'm going to go through that same point one more time, -2, 4. But I want a line with a slope of -1/2. That's -1 over +2. So I'm going to start at -2, 4 and do what? Down 1 and to the right 2. Boy, this just got sloppy. If I had graph paper, I could see the grid better. But down 1 over 2 should put me right here. That's the line with the slope -1/2. What do you notice about both of the lines that have negative slope as opposed to the line that has positive slope?
They go down.
They both go downhill. The two lines that have negative slope are going downhill, and the more negative the slope is, the steeper the line is. If you were on the luge going down this hill, it'd be going faster than going down that hill. Number 2, or number 20 actually, sketch the graph of the line on the same coordinate plane. This y equals -2x minus 1, that is in slope-intercept form. The y is by itself, so it's in slope-intercept form. Ms. Haley, what is the slope of that first line? No.
Okay.
Let me write down slope. Well, actually, I have it right here. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where the slope is the coefficient of x, and the constant on the end is your y-intercept. So that wasn't fair to ask you that before you had read that section, but now can you tell me what the slope of that line is? Yes, and the y-intercept is -1. If you write it as an ordered pair, it's 0, -1, because on the y-axis, the x is always 0. So we graph that just like we graphed the 3 lines in number 16. We say the y-intercept is -1. That's the point where I'm going to start. And then the slope being -2 means do what? Down 2 and to the right 1. Y equals -2x minus 1. Now just because we're trying to go a little bit faster, no, I can't. Dang it. I can't skip stuff. I have so much fun, I just can't skip stuff. There's something I want you to see about y equals -2x plus 3. Graph that on your own paper real quickly. Graph the y-intercept and then count out the slope. What do you notice about the relationship between the 2 lines we just graphed? What word did you use to describe that relationship?
They're parallel.
They're parallel. Is there a way that I could have told that even without graphing? What about the
Because they
equation?
have the same slope.
Because they have the same slope. They have the same slope, but they had different y-intercepts, so they were parallel. Now graph that 1/2 x plus 3. Y-intercept is 3. Slope is 1/2. I cheated, didn't I? It wasn't, because my tick marks aren't evenly spaced, when I went up 1 over 2, it wasn't turning out exactly like I meant it to, so I cheated. The reason I could cheat is I knew something about what those 2 lines should look like before I even graphed them. What did I know was supposed to be the relationship between those 2 lines? Perpendicular, because their slopes are opposites and reciprocals. Because my tick marks weren't evenly spaced, it wasn't looking like that. It was going to be perpendicular, so I kind of cheated and made it perpendicular. But if I'd been doing it on graph paper, it would have been easier to see that those were perpendicular. All right. Number 22 says find the general form of the equation of the line through the point 4, -2 that is parallel to the x-axis. With your left arm, show me what the x-axis looks like. With your right arm, show me what a line parallel, does it say parallel?
Yeah.
Are your arms crossing, Andrew? Parallel. X-axis, parallel to the x-axis. What word could you use to describe this line? Straight? Yes, that would work. But what if I make it multiple choice, horizontal or vertical? It's horizontal. What's the equation of a horizontal line? Is it either x equals a constant or is it y equals a constant? Here's how I keep it straight, because I don't like memorizing stuff. My brain's run out of space to memorize. I just think the y coordinate tells you how much to go up or down. If the y is a constant, the height is the same all the way across. So y equals a constant gives you a horizontal line. If x is a constant, you're not going left to right, you're going straight up and down, where all the x's would be the same. So if I'm on a line that's parallel to the x-axis, it's horizontal, is it going to be x equals something or y equals something? Y equals something, and if it goes through that point, what's the y going to have to be? Yeah. There's no steps I can write down on that. Maybe it'll help to write down the word horizontal. But the answer is just y equals 2, and it really doesn't take any work to get there. Now with your left arm, show me the x-axis, and with your right arm, show me a line that's perpendicular to the x-axis. Now, watch out your hands off. It's a little bit violent. I don't know if I have to use the right arm, but yes, that's perpendicular. And so a line perpendicular to the x-axis, what word could you use to describe it? Vertical. And what's the equation going to look like? X equals a constant, and if it goes through that point, what's the constant going to have to be? -4. There's a good example in the book, an example I referred you to on page 109, that shows you how to find the equation of the line if I give you a point and a slope, or if I just give you 2 points. I give you 2 points, first thing you do is find the slope, and then you take one of your points and your slope, and you plug it into that point-slope form. Now, some folks like using slope-intercept form for everything, and you can. If that's the way you learned it and you want to do it and you get the right answer, stick with it. But if you give me a point and a slope, I'm going to plug it into point-slope form. What there is not an example in the book like is one that gives me the x-intercept and the y-intercept. I don't have an intercept-intercept form. I have a point-slope form. But they are both points. That's the whole point. You're being given the same thing. Every once in a while, I see somebody put those two numbers together as an ordered pair, -5, -1. But the x-intercept and the y-intercept are 2 different points. What's the ordered pair that names the x-intercept -5? X is -5, y is 0 because it's sitting on the x-axis. What's the point that names the y-intercept -1? It's sitting on the y-axis, so x is 0, y is -1. The slope is the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. The difference in the y's would be -1 minus 0. The difference in the x's would be 0 minus -5. So the slope of that line is -1/5. And then to find the equation of the line, make sure you've done what the directions said. The directions didn't just say find the slope, it said find the equation of the line. Normally, I would use point-slope form. I would say, here's a point, here's a slope, plug it into point-slope form. That will absolutely work. On this particular problem, there's a faster way. I have the slope and the y-intercept. If I have the slope and the y-intercept, I can just put it in slope-intercept form. The slope is -1/5, and the y-intercept is -1. So the equation of the line is y equals -1/5 x minus 1. All right. Number 40 says find the equation of the line that bisects the first and third quadrants. Never had I've never been given information like that before. I've either been given a point and a slope, or I've been given 2 points. I don't have a formula for that. Got any ideas?
You would have to perfectly bisect the 90-degree angles.
And the good thing to do might be just graph it. I don't know if a picture would help or not, but when I'm absolutely stumped, can't think of anything else to do, then I think, well, let me look at a picture and see if that helps. That line bisects, just what you said, divides evenly in half the 90-degree angle in the first quadrant and the third quadrant. How does that help me find the equation of the line?
For x equals 1, y would also have to equal 1, and when x equals negative 1, y would also have to equal 1.
If it's perfectly bisecting the first and third quadrants, then it's going through the points 1, 1, 2, 2, up there somewhere, I don't have room to write it, would be 3, 3. Down here somewhere would be negative 1, negative 1. What's the equation of the line? Well, tell me this. What is the relationship between each x and the y in that same order pair? They're the same. It's the line where the x's and the y's are the same in each ordered pair that bisects the first and third quadrants. So what equation says y and x are the same thing? Y equals x. That's the equation of the line. That's literally what that equation means, is all the ordered pairs where the x is the same as the y. All right, 46. You may not finish all these, but let's make sure you know how to start them. What's the equation of the line in the A part? Mr. Dillon? X equals negative 2. It's a vertical line. Vertical lines come from x equals a constant, and the x for every point on that line is negative 2. This is negative 2, 0, negative 2, 1, negative 2, 2, negative 2, negative 1. In all of those ordered pairs, x is negative 2. What 2 pieces of information am I given in the B part that I could use to find the equation of the line? I'm given the slope, and I'm given a point. The point just happens to be the y-intercept as well. If I'm going to use slope-intercept form, then what is the y-intercept? Yeah. The y-intercept is 0. So what's the equation of that line? Y equals m, there's the m, times x plus 0. There's no point in writing plus 0 on the end. That's just y equals 4/3 x. What information am I given that I could use to find the equation of the line in the C part?
Y-intercepting yourself.
Yeah, this is, I'm given the y-intercept is 2, so what's the, oh, sorry, negative 2. So what's the equation of that line?
Y equals 1/3 x minus 2.
Yep. And D is so boring, I'm not even going to write it down. It labels another point, maybe to see if you'd fall for it. You could use that point and that slope in point-slope form and get the equation of the line. But you can also clearly see the y-intercept, so why not just use that? I would use the slope 3, the y-intercept 1. And the equation of that line is y equals 3x plus 1. If you didn't notice the y-intercept and you used the point negative 2, negative 5, you'd come up with the same thing. All right. The usefulness of linear equations lies in the fact that many things can be modeled by a linear equation. Any two quantities where the y is increasing or decreasing with respect to x at some constant rate, that constant rate is the slope. So if you have a constant rate, then that situation can be modeled by a linear equation. The biggest thing in solving an application of a linear equation is making sure you correctly identify your ordered pairs. Make sure you understand what x and y need to stand for. So number 54 says, newborn baby whales are approximately 24 feet long and weigh 3 tons. Young whales are nursed for 7 months, and by the time of weaning, they are often 53 feet long and weigh 23 tons. Let L and W denote the length in feet and the weight in tons, respectively, of a whale that's T months of age. A part says if L and T are linearly related, express L in terms of T. When it says express L in terms of T, that means I want an equation that starts L equals blah, 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 and has T on the other side. If that's what I'm going for, which is my independent variable, my first variable in the ordered pair. If it's L in terms of T, then T is my independent variable, my first number in the ordered pair. You give me a time, I'll give you the length of the whale at that time. So L in terms of T means T is the independent variable. That means I'm going to set my ordered pairs up. You give me a time, I'll give you the length of the whale at that time. Now, to find the equation of a line, I have to either be given 2 points or I have to be given a point and a slope. Which of those scenarios applies in this problem? I'm given 2 points. What's one of my points? Got to be a time and a length. The whale is T months of age. How old is the whale when it's, how many months old is the whale when it's born? 0. So at time 0, the whale's 24 feet long. And then what's the other ordered pair? At 7 months, the whale is 53 months long. The 3 tons and the 23 tons didn't have anything, if they weren't relevant for what we were asked in this problem. I'm going to say ... because I know that if you had 2 ordered pairs, you can find the slope and you can find the equation of the line. Let's just see how to set up 56, and then we're going to zoom over to 2.4 real fast. 56 says a cheese manufacturer produces 18,000 pounds of cheese from January 1st to March 24th. Suppose that this rate of production continues for the remainder of the year. It's that very last statement that tells me this is a linear situation because the rate of production is staying the same, the slope is staying the same throughout the year. Express the number y of pounds of cheese produced in the terms of the number of x days in a 365-day year. What's my independent variable there? express y in terms of x
Okay.
means x is your independent variable. That means I'm going to set up my ordered pairs. You give me a number of days. I will give you the number of pounds of cheese that have been made by that date. It's very helpful for me when I'm solving word problems to write down what the x and the y represent in the ordered pair. Am I given a point and a slope? Am I given 2 points? Am I not given enough information to solve this? Do you think I'm given 2 points, or do you see the point and a slope somehow?
0, 0, and then 18,000, whatever. That's much.
Exactly. In the beginning, no cheese was made. So the first ordered pair is 0, 0, because when the year began, there was no cheese. And then you would have to figure there are 31 days in January. February in a non-leap year has 28 days. And then 24 days of March. You add that up, it would be 83. Double check me. 9, 4, 13. Yeah, 83 days. So, Dylan, what are you telling me the other pair order pair is, given that there are 83 days to March 24th?
1,083.
Yep. I'm going to put a dot, dot, dot after that, because I know the hard part is getting the ordered pairs. One question about number 58. The only thing I'm going to write down for you, a college student receives an interest-free loan of $8,250 from a relative. The student will pay $125 a month until the loan is paid off. Am I given a point and a slope, or am I given 2 points? What? Kind of know the slope? Tell me this, and we'll come back to that question. What's the in the beginning ordered pair? Mr. Andrew, what do you say the in the beginning ordered pair is?
0, 8,000.
In year 0, at the beginning of the loan, the balance was $8,250. And then Miss Amanda, tell me why you think we're kind of given the slope. What does kind of given the slope mean? Is that what you said?
My name's not Amanda.
I know that. I'm so sorry. There's no Amanda in the room, but it kind of sounds like Samantha. I'm sorry.
You're good.
The day that I knew all my guys, I didn't know my girls. Tell me why you said we kind of know the slope,
Because they repay 125.
and what does that mean the slope is? The balance is going down, which means the slope is negative. And specifically, how much is it going down per month? 125. So the slope is negative 125. Because that's the amount the balance is changing each month. All right. You definitely have this for homework. Let's see how much of 2.4 we can talk about in 10 minutes. And I suspect quite a lot. Because this is another subject that you should be familiar with. The concept of a function. The relation is just any relationship, anything that can be described by a set of ordered pairs, and they really don't even have to make sense. An ordered pair could be your favorite M&M, comma, or favorite M&M color, comma, size shoe you wear. Those have nothing to do with each other, but that could be your relation. For each person, you give me your favorite color M&M and your shoe size, and I can make a bunch of ordered pairs for that. But to be a function is a special kind of relation. To be a function is a relation where each x only corresponds to one y. Or I like to think each question only has one answer. All the buttons on your calculator, other than the number buttons, are function buttons. They do something to any numbers that you put in, and for any expression you put in on your calculator, there's only one right answer. If you enter the number 9 and then hit the square root button, what are you expecting your calculator to give you? Three. You press 9 and then the square root button, the calculator is just going to give you 3 because that symbol, the radical symbol, means positive square root. It's not going to give you negative 3, it's going to give you positive 3 because that's what that symbol means. So when you press the square root button for any number, there's only one right answer to that. That is a function. If I set up the ordered pairs, let me see if I type this. I don't think unless it's down at the bottom, it's not one of the examples I typed. So tell me this. If I set up the ordered pair, your name, comma, your age, would that be a function? I call out a name, you tell me your age. Is there only one right answer to that? Yeah. You can be very precise if you want to, but you only have one age right at this moment. So if I set the ordered pair up, I'm going to call out a name. You're going to give me your age. The X is the names, the Y are the ages. That's a function. But what if I reverse the ordered pair? What if I say, I'm going to call out an age, everyone who is that age, tell me your name. Would that be a function? Because I could call out an age, and there would be more than one person possibly who was that age. So to be a function means each X only corresponds to one Y. The domain is the set of all X values for which the function is defined. What we have to watch out for, what blows up. The most common things that blow up functions are 0 in the denominator of a fraction, or square root under a negative under a square root, or an even root. Those will blow up the function. So when I say find the domain, I'm saying find anything that you can let X be that doesn't blow up the function. Range is any Y value that could be obtained by the function. So when we look at these examples, I have 3 ordered pairs. The domain is the set of X's. The range is the set of Y's. And this line is called drawing the mapping between the ordered pairs. -2 goes with 5 in the first ordered pair. -3 goes to 6 in the second ordered pair. -4 goes to 7 in the third ordered pair. That is a function because each X is only mapped to one Y. Whereas in example 2, if I do the same thing, the domain is 1 and 2. You don't have to repeat values in the domain. You don't have to write 1, 1, and 2. The domain is just 1 and 2. The range is 2, 3, and 5. In the first ordered pair, 1 corresponds to 2. But in the second ordered pair, 1 corresponds to 3. Whatever this thing is, it's not a function. Because I put in one number, a 1, and it spit out 2 different answers. It's not a function. Number 3, you read that set notation, the set of all X, Y's, such that Y equals X plus 1. Whatever X is, you add 1 to it, and you get Y. Would that be a function? If I put a 7 into a adding 1 machine, is there only one right answer that comes out? Yeah. I put a -2 into an adding 1 machine. Is there only one right answer that comes out? Yeah. So it's a function. Number 4, X equals absolute value of Y. That means whatever Y is, X is the absolute value of that. You have to squint hard and think, could I make up two different ordered pairs with the same X that gave me two different Ys? If I can make up two such ordered pairs and it's not a function, and I squinted it just a minute and came up with these two ordered pairs that have the same X coming from two different Ys, so it's not a function. If X is any element in the domain, it's called the independent variable. If Y is an element in the range, it's called the dependent variable. The Y you get out depends on the X you put in. And no, you've seen loads of function notation in your life. F is just the name of the function. X is the name of the independent variable. That's what you're calling the input variables. This 3x plus 2 is called the defining expression. It tells you what this machine does. This is a tripling and adding 2 machine. And f of x, what's interchangeable with f of x? What can you always put in the place of f of x? Y. It's the y you get out. Let's see, name of the function. It's the y you get out for each x you put in. So I could say, if I said find f of 7, what would that mean to do? Put 7 in the place of the x you get out of 23. If I say find f of 0, what do you do? Put 0 in the place of x. If I say find f of q plus r, what do you do? And don't say crazy things like that in calculus. Find f of q plus r. What does that mean? Put q plus r in the place of x. If I say find f of rhinoceros, what are you going to do?
Hopefully
I'm
draw
going
a
to stop this class if you say f of rhinoceros. I'm going to say f of rhinoceros. That means put rhinoceros in the place of x. That's what function notation means. Let me mention this. We won't have any time to do examples. You don't have homework from 2.4 tonight, but we can jump straight into the examples tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll try to do the examples from 2.4 and 2.5. They're both kind of short. All I want to say about increasing, decreasing, and constant functions right now is increasing means going uphill from left to right. Decreasing means going downhill from left to right. Constant means going straight across left to right. So we'll do those examples tomorrow, and then maybe we can catch up. Homework tonight's 2.3.